Hello, everyone. Welcome to an exciting new series of Campus Care panel discussions by NTAB. This entire series is focused on experiential learning as per NEP 2020 and how schools and educators can implement experiential learning as per NEP 2020 successfully in their schools. Moreover, it will also help us understand what are our students prepared for the VUCA world. Now you'll ask, what is VUCA? Well, it's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Are we preparing our students for the VUCA world? And how can our students gain a deeper understanding of concepts and how it can help them to move from rote learning to critical thinking and in understanding not only what to think but how to think. So, for this very purpose, we have some exclusive panelists on our session. So, I would first introduce Dr. Suchitra Bhattacharya. She is the principal of GD Goenka School, Bahadurgarh. Welcome on board, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It is really a pleasure always to come often on NTAB such platforms, and I think NTAB has really made a mark in the education world with solution to so many issues. I've been very closely associated and have have been a panel member of many such events of yours. Thank you so much, and I am waiting for a wonderful and exciting discussion.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Next up, we have Indraneel sir. Indraneel sir is joining us from Rohtak, I guess, sir. Sir, you're on mute, I guess. I can't hear you. You were not mute. Sir, there's some audio issue from your angle.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now, sir. Thank you so much. Lost you there again, sir. I guess
Am
there
I
sir, I guess there's some issue with your what do you call that? With that cord of yours.
okay now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, it's all the problem with the technology. The earphone is not working properly. So, as much as we can talk about technology, sometimes it fails. Anyway, very good evening to all the panel members, distinguished panel members, and to you, Himanshu.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, I I also had the privilege of being in the panel for NTAB. Whatever you were doing is fantastic, and I think these kind of platforms are to be created so that we come across other people and come to know that what beautiful work all other schools and principals and management they are doing all over the world. So you are doing a great job. Carry on with it, and I'm looking forward to a very exciting kind of a conversation.
Thank you so much, sir. And before we move forward, Indraneel sir is the director principal of Indus Public School from Rohtak, which sir forgot to mention, so I'll mention on his behalf. And
Not an issue.
and
Thank you.
last but not the least, we have Yogesh Joshi sir. He's from Sri Kavantara School from Madhya Pradesh. It is higher secondary school as well. Hi sir, how are you?
Fine, Ivanshu, and thank you very much for providing the opportunity here, especially on the platform where intellectual are discussing about some intellectual issues.
Right.
And it's really the need of our, and we will only not only be just providing light on the issues, but also will learn together.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. All right, so let's quickly begin. I would first like to focus and bring attention towards our a very important, thing is that nowadays we're talking about experiential learning, we're talking about NEP 2020, and it's been on for a while. All of us know that. So, my first thing which I would love to know, and which I would love your advice on, is how experiential learning is different from traditional form of education. Dr. Suchitra, ma'am, ladies first.
No, I don't like gender biasness. However,
Ma'am,
thank
I
you
was
so
being
much.
polite.
Once again, good evening. Myself, Dr. Bhattacharya from Delhi, and it's been 21 years in this education sector, being the principal. This is my 11th year. And as said, I'm very closely associated with INTAP. Thank you so much for providing such wonderful platform. Now, coming to the question, I would say that I think now these discussions are no more new. AP 2020 and COVID came in such a beautiful manner, in fact, to some extent, though COVID has given us a I mean, we've got such a loss in the education sector, and we've lost so many people. However, we have really utilized, education sector has utilized this moment in a wonderful way, and so came with the NEP 2020. I have been closely associated with CBSE as NEP 2020 draft and others. I would say much before the NEP came in also, there are many progressive schools who were already into experiential learning. Now, what is experiential learning and what is traditional learning, as you have said? Education system has tremendously changed, and we are dealing with the generation who would not know. Actually, there is so much of employment which is there, which even the children are not knowing. Therefore, first educators need to upgrade, and we have really done it. Those who have not have perished and will be perishing. So traditional methodology was basically a rote learning methodology that we had used, and where children were basically listening to the lectures of the teachers. And teacher was a guide, not a guide, I would say, was a person sitting in front, just giving their knowledge to the children, where they would listen to it and learn, do the rote learning, and produce. Experiential learning is a vast difference here. Teachers are no more just teachers, they are just guides and facilitators. They facilitate and they are with the children, where the children are doing the experiments, the children are doing the hands on work, and they are learning, and the teacher is just beside them to guide them. That's the basic difference. Now, you would say, how can you do experiments for everything? Experiential learning does not necessarily mean going to the science lab and doing experiments. How will you do experiments in geography, history? So, experiential learning is a hand on experience, which can be internship, which can be visits, which can be projects. Basically, the child is deeply involved. I would request Himanshu,
Yes,
please,
ma'am.
if I cross my time, do just button so that I can. I know that now it's time for me to wind up, because there's so much to say. So once again, coming back to it's not only just making an experiment with the pipette or the test tube. It is basically how involved you get. It is more of a research-based education system that we have. Here, I would be very, very truthful. We are a little contradictory in this, because our CBSE curriculum, or any curriculum, the Indian curriculum that we follow, I would be not. It will not be justified if I don't give a little clarity on this. That we do say that we do experiential learning. We have hands-on experience, research-based, project-based. Definitely, we are trying to do. But the syllabus is such, our population is such, we are unable to do justice to it. However, there is no point in asking for things which are not there, or concentrating on those areas which is not possible for us to solve. Rather than this, let us understand at our scenario what best can be done. And I am very confident that most of the schools, and after NEP, even the schools at remote areas are trying on this, that teach children are encouraged to do research based education. Yeah.
Ma'am, drawing a point from that, I would like to now divert to not from the topic, but from towards Indranil sir. Indranil sir, ma'am mentioned very clearly that due to our population, it is a restraint that we cannot have an education system like Finland or maybe like those of the developed countries. So, do you think that taking a cue of an assembly line sort of system, and I know I'm not mincing any words when I'm saying assembly line sort of system, so please pardon me, but do you think that is why we are restrained because of our population, because there's so much to do still yet?
No, I don't think that the real issue lies there. But definitely, we have got basically a colonial mindset. And why not? Because if you go through the history, we were being subjugated by the British and to some extent by the Mughals for centuries, you know. So naturally, those influences will be there. But somehow down the line, Himanshu, everyone should pardon me saying, we are in love with the fair skins and anything that is, outside India. That is the
Colonial
trend.
hangover. Basically, we are
We,
living in colonial hangover.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yes, Finland is doing well. Yes, Switzerland is doing well. Okay, Singapore is doing well. But we are having those fads and fancies of saying that okay, even I know I know the person who has framed the basic curriculum from Finland. So I really know what problem those countries are also having.
Right.
Of course, the size of the population matters. What you are saying, when they say that in PISA examination our students are not doing very well, you need to know that the size of India is such, and the kind of education system through the length and breadth of India that is there. And I would like to, differ with the first speaker very respectfully. I mean to say, experiential learning was there from day one in India. In our Gurukul system, what is that? That is experiential learning, where the students were living in Guru Griha and learning things, basically learning life skills and other kinds of skill sets. We have forgotten about that. Okay. And now, whatever big names we bring in, like let's say, you will find out, you will figure out what is IB, what is IGSC. It's all old wine in a new bottle. It's our own system that they have taken. Yes, of course, they have refined it, they have researched it, and they have done it in a much better way. Now, coming back to experiential learning, I completely, go with ma'am that yes, lot of progressive schools or so-called schools, I won't call progressive or regressive because all schools are good schools. They have done it much before CBSE was talking about art integrated education and joyful learning. There were a lot of schools who were practicing that. Much before happiness curriculum came, there were schools in India who were practicing that. So it's not that all the things are coming from outside, okay? But experiential learning is a wonderful thing which is there. NEP is a wonderful thing. And I know, like me, all principals or directors are just wishing that NEP stays. It does not, go away like CCE and dies a premature death. And we can do it. We can do it with whatever number of teachers we have got. We can just put it into practice. We are just waiting for that very quickly and preparing for the same.
Right, sir. And
Himanshu, one
yes,
statement.
yes, ma'am. Sure, please.
Indian education system is one of the best education systems since ages and even now.
Absolutely.
Right, ma'am. Absolutely. And plus, West has always had this habit of adopting from the East and then repackaging it in a new manner and then saying it to the East.
Himanshu, why are you soft in words? Why are you saying adopting? They are thieves.
They are thieves.
They are
Sir,
thieves.
I was being
All the thieves
politically correct.
thieves.
Sir, I was being
Yes.
politically correct, to be very honest. Because there are people on YouTube and I have a job to protect also. So, to be very
Right.
honest for that. All right. So,
True.
drawing attention towards Yogesh, sir. Sir, drawing in, queuing from that, sir said that our Gurukul system has been there since centuries and we have all known about it. And we've read about it, we've seen in Mahabharata, we've seen in Ramayana, everywhere. It is in our epics and tales. So, are you personally aware of an? Have you experienced the experiential learning teaching system? And maybe have you, if you've implemented in your school or somebody in your friend's school? So please shed a light on that.
Uh, First of all, I just extend my warm greetings to the both of the panelists. They have given a good insight, especially in the topic, ma'am and sir. Uh, I
Sorry.
just want to share here, one of my experience, especially in experiential learning. Learning started, in 2010, one system here. We spared one lane of around 2,500 square feet for the students, and they started doing farming over there. And we are given them with the title that it is a multi project for you all. And this project is given to class 9 students, all four sections. We have four sections in our school: glorious, excellent, marvelous, and superb. So these four sections are given the land, and they divide it first. They taste the land, and then they decide the seeds. Then they irrigate, they put fertilizer and everything, and they maintain the records also. And finally, they
Fantastic.
provide budgets, and then at the end of the 4 months, they provide a PPT presentation to the entire school, in the assembly,
Wow.
so that they can share their experiences. And that experience actually has brought immense change, especially among the students of our school. And this is continuing in our schools, and I wish that it must be there. And one more thing that I just wish to add here, not only this land work that we are doing here, various project works we are assigning students. They are going to the villages, especially their own villages. I am the school where at least 40-45 villages we are covering in our school. And students, those who come from various schools, they are given such kind of project, especially in history and social science. They go, they even discuss with the headman of the village, and they decide the procedure. Even they are working with the process of some problem they discuss. In my class fifth, as I discuss here, MUN, the term is there, Model United Nation. They have changed the term Model United Demand. And then, because we are in Nimar area of Madhya Pradesh, now these small kids of class 5th, they go to various towns in their own village, they search the problem and then discuss in the school. And then they identify the one problem and they start working upon it. How much they are getting success, it doesn't matter to us, but at least they have started thinking about the problem in the direction that we actually want.
Right.
So that is how right from primary to the secondary, we have started using this particular experiential learning in our school campus.
Wonderful, sir. Kudos to you. And before I proceed further with our lovely panelists, I would just like to give a shout out to Jyotsna ma'am from St. Xavier International School, Agra. I hope you're doing, ma'am. All of these people are watching us live on YouTube at this point of time. To Principal Zinc Vidyalaya, Bhiwara, Rajasthan, and then Vinod Kumar Dwivedi sir, Aman Sherpa, Manjeet Kaur ma'am. Then I remember Army Public School, Barrackpore, and Moitri Mukherjee ma'am is there. I remember her personally when I took an interview for with her, when I did an interview with her. Then Avinash Mishra, Principal, Genius Public School. All of you who are watching us on YouTube, if you have a question to ask lovely panelists, please write that in our chat and I'll be happy to take it forward. All right. Dr. Suchitra Bhattacharya, ma'am, my next, the one thing which I would love to know, and the thing is, we all talk about experiential learning, everything we've been speaking. But how do you measure the effectiveness of experiential learning programs?
Yeah, that is. I'll just start from where I ended. It ended a little abruptly. Frankly
Okay.
speaking, as I said, we all do experiential learning, whereas still, somewhere down the line, we depend on rote learning. Where I convince to my colleagues, my teacher colleagues, to my students, senior students, even parents, certain facts will have to be learned. Certain inventions will have to be learned. So whether it is rote learning or not, that really doesn't matter. So that's how we explain to them. However, if we talk of how do we assess, frankly speaking, as Yogesh sir was mentioning, I think most of our schools these days, depending on the place where it is located, depending on the space that is available in our schools, I think we are trying our level best as educators to give a hands-on experience to all our students. When we talk of internships, when we talk of research based learning, I think children goes depth and they have a hands on learning in it. They take data, they do the analysis when they visit the hospitals, when they want to take care of, say, for example, nutrition values, they visit families, and it can be affluent families, it can be villages, it can be wherever you want to be. However, depending on the space and the place you are located, when the children are doing, they become more responsible. And
Mhm.
I think we can assess that definitely. It may not be by marks as such, where the child answers and we give a tick out of five, we take two or three and give them up. So there is a definite balance in the development of the child and which can be definitely assessed. This is one. Secondly, when I talk of data collection,
Mhm.
their knowledge increases like anything. So, that knowledge, whenever the child is about to produce his own research paper, own appraisals, own conclusions, I think we can definitely assess the child. And another thing with it is overall development. These days, only with academics, I think the child is nowhere. There is a holistic development that is required, the teamwork that a child has to learn. So when a child is going with a team, working, finding out, when an individual, another thing is when you give the link to the children, they themselves are googling, they themselves are filling the data. So the responsibility, the knowledge, the confidence, the teamwork, I think we all educators can definitely assess the confidence that the child has, where he was, and after all these experiential learning, where he is now. What is the data that he has collected, the knowledge that he has gained. All these are basic assessment that we can do, and educators can do it easily. Now, gone are those days just with paper and pen, because we have, even CBSE has got so much categories, 10%, 20% from internal assessment. So these are the basic ways where I think the children are benefiting, and at the same time, we educators are finding it even easier and more confident in knowing the child much in depth, rather than just giving a mark sheet or a report card based on one day examination with the child is doing. I think that is what is happening amazingly well. And I would once again insist, our children, whenever they're going overseas, they are really doing so amazingly well. One thing where I need the fine skills that we need to work on is the teamwork, the leadership, because as an individual, a child is amazingly well. But in a group, how much he's successful. That is where we now need to just do the fine tuning so that children can shine up. If they are shining, they can do much better.
Right. So refinement is the key, according to ma'am. That's what will help and excel. Help us in excelling to the next level. Taking cue from that, Indranil sir. My next thing is what I would like to have be advised on is how do you incorporate experiential learning into the curriculum and ensure it is aligned with your educational goals and objectives as well as individual goals and objectives of students.
Okay. So first of all, just get into a little bit of background that how experiential learning helps us.
Right.
Basically, it develops a deeper understanding of the subjects or the courses that we are taking care of. It creates the capacity for critical learning, problem solving, and all such things. It is basically it creates a kind of a reflective judgment sort of an act, where children starts reflecting, assessing that where they stand, and application of knowledge they start putting in different complex and real life issues. And it supports educational learning supports the advancement of students to effectively engage, problem solving, communication, critical thinking, lifelong learning. You can go on. The list is endless. And now these things, when we put into a curriculum, the perspective is that how do we evaluate these things that, okay, or ascertain that these things are put into the right perspective or not. So we evaluate it with the help of a lot of tools. Like, let's say we can have surveys on learning and see that in which particular path it's going. We can have knowledge tests, and these tests or assessments can take various forms. Not only in terms of writing, it can be oral, it can be viva. It can be anything. I mean, it can be a discussion also. Third is, through their skills, the skill sets that we want the children to follow up or exhibit. Through the skill demonstrations, we can find out that whether it's a fit in, right kind of a fit in into the curriculum. Next is we can have a comparison between the pre-test scenario and the post-test scenario and find out where the children was standing and is now standing.
Right.
Some kind of benchmarks can be put. Next is we can put a calculation on return of investment also. That whatever we have invested, not in terms of money, but in terms of intellect, what's the return that we are getting. And there are certain matrices by which we can do it very easy, like attendance, whether the attendance is increasing or not, whether students are finding it. Because see, engagement and motivation, these are the two things which we would like to measure. And those two are the most difficult things to measure. Sometimes you are thinking children are engaged, but maybe they are not motivated.
Right.
And you are thinking they are motivated, but they are not engaged.
Right.
So that is the real challenge that we face as educators. Apart from that, the activities that they are completing in real time and real term, the progress to the targets which they have set in for themselves, looking into that, okay, and like let's say time spent on learning and how effective that learning was. So these are the things by which we can measure that the experiential learning that we are putting into curriculum through different modes and measures. Madam has talked about, I mean to say, project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, a problem-based learning. So all these can be a part of this experiential learning,
On the whole.
which we can put as a whole,
Yeah.
and then through the measurement can figure out that whether it's a fitting, proper fitting or not, and then can change it or modify it as per our request.
All right. My last question of the day is for Yogesh sir. Yogesh sir, how does experiential learning prepare a student and basically NTAB as well as all of you and all of our lovely educators? Basically, what we are doing is we are, working towards building and preparing students for the workforce and the real world situations, not only for today but for upcoming future. So at NTAB we call it Mission 2030, to be very honest, that we want to prepare students for skills that are going to be utilized 5 or 6 years in future, or maybe 10 years in future. So Yogesh sir, how do you think experiential learning, according to you, how does it help, even if it helps?
So, first of all, that I just want to inform you that the experiential learning cannot be done in isolation. It always needs a team. And what I believe personally, after 20 or 30 years, when the child will be into the real world situation, perhaps this experiential learning will help him a lot. So, see, first of all, he will be having a leadership quality that he would be discussing with and communicating with many people. And it's not only communicating, but he is motivating others to do the same work that actually he wants to get it done. So, whatever he's learning in the group, he is going to implement after 10 or 15 years after completion of his education. So, and second thing that you must know, it it has a process in which he is learning himself. So, ownership of learning will be developed, and in future, whenever he is going to meet new challenges, because teacher provides a challenge to the student in the classroom, because he is not providing ready-made material in the classroom, and he is asking children to explore the knowledge going through this particular process of experiential learning. So what will happen? He will meet the challenges in the life and he will not hesitate to entertain it. He will address the challenge and will get it definitely get the solution of that particular problem. So, what actually I agree with Mr. Gupta, he has already mentioned that it develops all sort of skills that is needed into the mid 21st century, and that is what actually is being done. And I appreciate you also. You are also a great example of experiential learning. You are handling three principles at a time. So this is how,
So,
Thank you so
this
much.
is how actually this is how the experiential learning works. That actually I want to share
And
here.
it's not easy, sir, handling so many principles.
That's what.
Ma'am, that's your love and affection that you have for me, and I'm so grateful and thankful for that. I hope I didn't take too much of your time, and thank you for all your point of view. And before we leave, before I let you all go and you do all your important jobs and work, thank you so much for giving me your valuable time. And it was a pleasure having all of you on board, and I hope before I leave, okay, I have one question from Zinc Vidyalay. So sorry, ma'am, and it's a very good question to be very honest. Ma'am, the question is how to train teachers who are expert in chalk and talk teaching since last 15 to 20 years. Ma'am, that's a
Yeah,
very important question.
yeah. Do I go forward?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, this is something which I think I started at the beginning. I think this during this COVID, the enhancement of the knowledge that the teachers have gained, the change of role that the teachers have played, I think that gives a wonderful explanation to this
Hmm.
question.
Right.
Those who couldn't do has already perished and will be perishing. I think we need to first unlearn ourselves, as you said, and then learn the new ones. It's very important for each and every teacher with all the post graduation, MPhil, and master and PhD degrees. I think it's very, very important for each and every educator to be updated with the latest technology, to be updated with the latest development in their subject. My dear educators, whoever are listening, I keep telling to my own colleagues, and wherever possible, please update yourself. Please ensure that you prepare yourself for tomorrow in spite of knowing that particular poem or particular chapter or particular maths calculations. You need to update, and update, or else you are doing injustice to the students, which is just not acceptable. So I think those who are wanting to do it, they have already forgotten the chalk
Hmm.
and the blackboard. You see, now we are always, there are teachers using the tab where you are using it and you can see on the board the assignments are given, they are checked. I think we have really progressed, and my request, plead to those who have not changed, do change, or else please, this profession is not meant for you, because we are dealing with the generation which is so much ahead of us. So we need to do justice to our profession, Himanshu. I think that's my message to my co-educators.
Right. And to be very honest, again, I started all these webinars during COVID. I remember I've done
Yeah, yeah.
so many webinars with you, all of
Hmm.
you. And one thing which I always and always said, that the amount of dedication teachers converted their bedrooms, their dining rooms into classrooms. I
Absolutely.
remember I had this vivid image in my mind where I received a WhatsApp message where a teacher was the teaching the class from her mobile, and it was hanging from the ceiling, वो पंखे से ऊपर से लटक रहा था through a rubber, and she was
Yeah.
teaching. So that shows the amount of
Yeah.
dedication and
Yes, yes.
extent our educators will go to. So thank you so much, Indranil sir. Thank you so much, Suchitra ma'am. Thank you so much, Yogesh sir, for giving me a valuable time. As always, as usual, it was a pleasure having you. And take care of yourself. Stay healthy, ma'am.
And please
Stay
Thank
keep
you,
healthy,
doing
thank
such
you,
good
sir.
work. Solution
thank
to
you,
all problems in time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
ma'am. And I'll be calling
Really,
you.
it's a solution for all the problems.
Yeah, I'll be calling you, all of you, and we will be discussing about experiential learning more, because I have some genie in my pocket for experiential learning only.
Always there.
Thank you
Very
so
good.
much, ma'am. Have a nice day,
always there
Indranil
to
sir.
help you.
Thank
Thank
you,
Always
sir.
there.
you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everybody. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Lovely, lovely
Bye bye.
discussion. Namaskar.
Lovely, lovely
Namaskar.
Namaskar,
discussion.
everyone. Namaskar, everyone.